Welcome to Films from the Phantom Zone, your podcast about failed and forgotten comic book movies, where we would usually watch a superhero movie. But today, Berto, what are we discussing?
WandaVision 2.
Ah, ha, ha, ha.
Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Yes.
Which is still a superhero movie.
What do you mean?
You said we usually talk about superhero movies.
Sorry, a failed and forgotten one. That's what I'm supposed to say.
This is a new and current one.
Yeah, this is the opposite of that.
Successful. I like my WandaVision 2 joke.
That was a good joke, Berto.
I know, I'm a funny guy.
Something to talk about closer to spoilers is because I've heard people say oh, this feels like a Wanda movie instead of a Doctor Strange movie. And I think those people are wrong.
I think it feels like a Wanda movie.
Really?
It feels more of a sequel to WandaVision than it does to Doctor Strange.
I mean, it's a Doctor Strange movie that picks up on some threads from WandaVision. Let's not spoil anything. Let's get started.
All right.
My name is Arnaldo. I'm your host, and I'm joined by
Berto.
Yes, reviewing Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Only in theaters. Currently came out on we saw it on Thursday at a big theater. We did not see it in 3D, but we're going to. Do you still want to do that?
I still do, yeah. I think this movie would
100%.
look great that way.
Doctor Strange 2016 is my favorite 3D movie ever.
More than Avatar?
Yeah, Avatar sucks. But Doctor Strange is the movie that demands 3D more than any other movie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, just based on how the visual effects are.
Yeah, it makes the most use out of the 3D function without being without being gimmicky either.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's not like there's shit coming right at your face. But there's all the little, when they go into the mirror dimension and when she sends him on this trip, there's a lot of depth changes.
Yeah.
And you don't really feel that on 2D. I just watched it the other day here in my home, and you don't feel that anymore.
No, it's not.
You sort of see it.
Trippy.
Yeah, you sort of see it just by it feels like a vertigo effect, but when you see it in 3D, oh my god, it just blows you away, The sequence where they're running in New York, they're in the mirror dimension in New York. So New York is folding onto itself.
Yeah, it does the Inception thing.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so good. Because there are times where he's on a platform and there's a bunch of platforms underneath and they all have a different depth. So in 2D, you literally can't tell the difference. But in 3D, it's you feel the height and the space a lot more. It's, like I said, it's the only movie that I would say you absolutely need to have watched it in 3D. Then again, you can't go back in time unless if you have a 3D TV, which they don't make those anymore.
Yeah, did anybody actually buy those?
I mean, some people did. Anyway, let's get started. Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. What we're going to do, if you haven't listened to one of our reviews before, is we are going to talk a little about background of the movie before we do no spoiler reactions, no spoiler discussion, and then we'll let you know when we get into spoilers. So this is a movie, like most Marvel movies, where if you haven't seen it, you really shouldn't. You got to be really careful. Tread lightly.
Because things can absolutely be spoiled.
Oh, yeah. There's plenty to spoil in this movie, so you can trust us. We're not going to spoil anything before we say that we are talking about spoilers. And if you're watching us on Twitch, then just, I guess, be careful. If you come in after we start talking spoilers, you might be spoiled. But that being said, we are live on Twitch. We record all these episodes on Twitch. Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Twitch.tv/FilmsFilmPZ. Let's get going. Berto, background. This movie was announced in 2019. I think actually it was announced earlier. We always knew there was going to be a Doctor Strange sequel.
Right.
But in 2019, they were Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
That's when we got the title reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened in 2019? Endgame had just happened. I think the prevailing theory was going to be multiverse will be happening in phase 4.
Yeah.
And so far, yeah, that's correct.
That's exactly what's happening.
But then Scott Derrickson, the director of Doctor Strange, exits the project over creative differences in 2020, which is, having seen this movie now, I'd really like to be interested what his creative differences were.
Do you think he was thinking less horror-esque?
But he's also a horror director.
Right.
So,
which is weird, but also the first Doctor Strange wasn't really very horror like.
No, but it had some elements. I think visually it had some nice elements. I think it was like a lot of times when like Marvel or other people, like they get directors that do this thing just imparting like their filter and their perspective over the project without it being literally the same genre.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
true.
It's kind of like James Gunn in Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, it has his wit and it has his style and flair, but it's not like his previous movies either.
No, not at all.
So
It's like it's a James Gunn Marvel movie.
right, exactly. And so I think that probably you could say the same about Scott Derrickson. But a month later, in 2020, is replaced by Sam Raimi and writer Michael Waldron, who is the writer for the Loki series.
Okay. So that's good for
I like him a lot.
multiverse stuff.
Yeah. I think he might be the kind of go-to guy for multiversal things now.
Yeah.
He seems to, well, he's the one who pretty much established the rules, you know?
And he seems to establish them pretty well.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty much all I have on this movie. So let's get into no spoilers. What do you think about this film overall? Don't spoil anything. Don't do that.
I enjoyed it a lot. It felt very different from every other MCU movie I've seen. Like, this has Sam Raimi's like signature all over it, and not like Spider-Man Sam Raimi. I'm talking like Evil Dead Sam Raimi, like or
Army of Darkness.
Yeah. Like, it's got
Drag
like
Me
that,
to Hell.
It's got that kind of like corny-ish humor, but it's also blended in with like some like real horror elements.
Yeah.
And there's quite a bit of like brutality that comes with that too.
Mm-hmm.
And all of it it blends very well in a way that only Sam Raimi can really do.
Yeah. Is this, let me ask you, out of all the Marvel movies, let's say out of all the Marvel movies, would you say this is the most R-rated PG-13 Marvel movie?
I would say yes.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah, just
not,
based on what we see.
Like, not counting like Daredevil and Punisher and maybe Moon Knight.
Okay.
Between this and Moon Knight, honestly, it might be neck and neck at which one's more adult. This and Moon Knight
might be the most adult things Marvel Studios has done.
Right, yeah.
For sure.
Interesting. And I think that's super interesting that, like, you know, a long time ago we were like, oh, Deadpool's never going to fit in this universe because it's very family friendly. I forgot about the sex scene in Eternals. That was steamy. I
actually did forget about that too.
Hello, Eduardo. Thank you for joining us.
They did do it on a beach in Eternals.
I completely forgot about that.
I don't know if that made Eternals an adult movie, though.
Nah, it's just a sexy scene.
I think thematically, Eternals might be a more adult movie.
Yeah, it's like more for adults.
Right.
But it's like...
It wasn't like, oh, it's almost R-rated.
Berto, this is nothing America. Like what makes a movie R-rated is blood, gore, and boobs.
Oh, yeah.
So overall, yeah, I really like this movie. I know it's a little divisive on the internet, but at the same time... I don't know. I think get over it because I think this was a super exciting movie. This was the first Marvel movie in a long time where I literally did not know where it was going as I was watching.
Yeah.
I don't think I can say that since Endgame. I think everything else has been normally predictable. Like, not predictable in a bad way, but like if you know, like, you can predict a certain plot points based on your classic 3-act structure. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, this movie didn't really do that at all. The way this movie is paced also is very similar to Infinity War.
It's a little...
It kind of hits the ground running and it doesn't stop.
My original concern going into this is that it's only 2 hours and 6 minutes.
Yeah, which it's a short movie.
That's not a short movie by any standard. It's a medium length movie.
I'd say by current MCU standards, that's pretty short.
Well, that's the thing. If you go back, there's several movies in the MCU that are like 2 hours or 2 hours 10 minutes. You know,
that was like phase 2 shit.
But I mean, you know, on the one hand, not every movie has to be 4 hours long, 3 hours long. Right. Sure, I like most of my comic book superhero things to be at a good 2:30. I'll be honest.
2:30, I think, is a good time. 3 if you have a lot to tell.
Yeah. So I was a little bit concerned about the length, and then once the movie starts and I start to realize that it is a quicker pace, I felt a little bit at ease because I'm like, oh, I think this movie's going to get a lot done. It's just moving very quickly.
Yeah.
And I think for the most part, it's fine. It's a plot where it's kind of like, hey, we got to go. Moving quickly is part of the plot.
Yeah.
Like we gotta do this thing quickly. This is a race to do a thing, right? This is as generic as I can be, non-spoiler. But so that reflects well in a pacing of the movie too. Like the style of the movie should match what's happening in the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in that sense, yeah, I'm okay with it moving kind of quickly. But yeah, overall thoughts. I left this movie with 2 thoughts right off the top of my head. Number 1 is
holy shit.
Sure. Okay, 3. Number 1, holy shit. Number 2, Sam Raimi was never meant to make Spider-Man movies. He was meant to make Doctor Strange movies.
Yes.
I came at it wholeheartedly because in Spider-Man, you can tell
he was holding back.
It's
almost.
very void of his flair and style and
Yeah.
made probably the things that he wanted to do. He made very competent movies. You know, those movies are good. 2 of them are good.
He has some of his stuff sprinkled in the movies too. Like there's a couple scenes where like just the way it's filmed, it's like, oh, that's very like horror-esque.
Yeah, other than the Doc Ock scene in the hospital.
And then I think the pumpkin bomb exploding in front of Peter's face.
Okay. Some of that action.
Some of that action, it's almost like kind of like brutal, like almost gruesome action.
Yeah. But it's also, I always felt those are Sam Raimi moments. Those are Sam Raimi movies where Sam Raimi is put in a box. And he's doing the best when he can in certain parameters. Where I think here they're like, break those parameters. This is Doctor Strange. Get wild with it.
Yeah, get weird. You're allowed.
Get weird. And I love that they let him do that. Because there used to be a time in Marvel where they're like, oh, I wonder how they're going to do that in live action. They're going to have to get creative and make it look realistic and yada, yada, yada. And nowadays it's kind of like, no.
It can look weird now.
Just fucking put the weird thing on the page, put it on the movie. Just do that. And now we're so much more receptive to that because, you know, Marvel and some other things, you know, the DC did Aquaman and we're like, what? You know, but Marvel's like hiring the right people to do that job and make it work. And it doesn't have to be realistic, but we'll buy it.
Well, yeah, there's in this very movie, there's the like goat man at Camertage, and we didn't even think it was that weird.
Yeah, that's not a spoiler. There's a character who's a goat man. He's a side character. It's not important.
Yeah. Like he's just there, and they don't mention the fact that he's there. He's just there.
He's just standing there. My favorite part about that goat sorcerer, is that I don't remember what line he says. He only has one line. Again, I wouldn't consider this a spoiler. He has one line. Huh?
He's in the trailer.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
I never noticed it. Yeah. And he's just like, oh my God, look at this thing. I never thought I would see this thing. Meanwhile, I'm like, you are the most remarkable thing I've ever seen in my life.
And nobody's batting an eye.
Nobody cares.
Was he a Minotaur? He's similar to a Minotaur. I don't know what his race is, though.
It happens so quickly. He's on screen for 5-10 seconds. I
have questions.
I had questions that were not answered.
Is he from another planet?
I wanted him to be in the movie more so I could get answers.
Is he from the other dimension that we see in Shang-Chi? That's possible.
Yeah, with those creatures?
Yeah.
Maybe.
But here's the thing. It didn't like feel weird, though.
That's where we are in Marvel. And you told me that this felt so comic booky. And it's things like that make you feel that way. There are some parts, and spoilers, we're going to talk about certain sections of this movie that just feel like, God, they didn't even bother trying to make this quote-unquote live action. They're just like, no, do a comic.
Yeah.
Oh, my second thought was, all the things I have ever said about Danny Elfman, I take them all back. You
don't hate him anymore?
He was incredible in this. This was a great score. I didn't leave the theater with any like signature themes or anything, and I think you'd have to
nothing like what like Giacchino did
in the first one.
Yeah,
but he scores this movie incredibly well in terms of like the music is ever present and it's always serving the movie well.
Yes,
I want to get more into Danny Elfman's score later for the specifics and spoilers.
Oh yeah, there's a couple things he did that I really liked.
We have fact checkers on the chat. Thank you, Eduardo.
He has a pop vinyl.
Oh, that is awesome. The character's name is Rintrah, the extra-dimensional Minotaur. So, yes, he is from another universe.
Ooh, he's from the extra-dimensional planet of Raval.
I love it. Love it. He could also have been an alien. There's creatures like all kinds of creatures in Guardians of the Galaxy.
True.
But then he wouldn't be a sorcerer. I mean, he could.
Yeah, there's sorcerers in space.
Sure.
We see one, I think, at the end of the second Guardians. I think one of the like members of the original Guardians that shown on the post credits was using magic.
Oh.
Yeah.
God, I don't remember that. I need to watch that again. All right, let's talk about some characters. The main breakout new character for this movie is America Chavez,
Yes.
played by Xochitl Gomez. That's how you say it.
Xochitl Gomez?
Yeah, she is. She's got like a Mexican name, so it has X's and T's and
Like
L's that are
like
all silent.
yeah.
I thought she was very, very good.
Yeah. No, her character was great, and she played it very well.
Mm.
From what I've read, a lot of like what we've seen from her is kind of straight from the comics.
She has like similar outfit too, with the star jacket. That's from the comics also, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so her powers are that she can punch portals in the multiverse. She can jump from universe to universe.
Yeah.
That's all I know about her.
With like the star shape.
Yeah. And that's all you really need to know, because the movie pretty much tells you.
The movie will explain anything else you need to know.
Everyone else is pretty much a recurring character. We have Wong, obviously Doctor Strange, Wanda Maximoff, Mordo. What's Mordo's first name again? Baron Mordo.
Baron Carl Mordo.
Oh, yes. How do y'all feel about her being more Mexican influenced instead of Puerto Rican influenced like she was in the comics? That is interesting, Eduardo. I did not know she was Puerto Rican in the comics. Again, all I knew about her was that she punches holes through multiverses.
She's also like not even from Earth, though, really.
I wouldn't call her Mexican influenced other than she says like one line in Spanish that has a little bit more Mexican slang in it, and that's it. Other than that, she is vaguely Latina and from a different universe. So
yeah, so it's
like a magic alien universe because we see it.
As far as like representation goes, I mean, I'm fine with it. Whatever.
It's one of those things where and we talked about this personally, you and me, when we talked about Moon Knight on your podcast, Assembly Required, about doing the representation that the actor is when it's not inconvenient, I guess. When it's like when it doesn't contradict anything, they just do whatever the actor is, which I think works really well. So because in Moon Knight is not Latino, he is Jewish, white. Right?
Jewish white, yeah.
And so in Moon Knight, because they hired a Latino actor, Oscar Isaac, then they were like, whatever, he's Latino now. Yeah, he's also Jewish, but he's also Latino. Like, why not? There's no reason not to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as long as it doesn't contradict anything or is wholly implausible, then like just do what the actor is. Yeah. No big deal. How many times do you see? It's funny when you see like Australian actors like Nicole Kidman or Hugh Jackman, who are forced to play British because they're like, no, people don't like Australian accents. Can you do British? Why couldn't you just let them be Australian?
They could have been.
They could have just done Australian. Like, it's not a big deal.
It's just not as common as all.
Like, why did the character need to be British? You know what I mean? Same thing happens for like Irish actors like
Colin Farrell.
He's always playing American or British. He's almost never allowed to just be Irish.
And the one time he's like Irish, he's Bullseye, unfortunately.
Yeah. He was Irish and In Bruges also. It's a great film. Yeah, but other than that, I think about the same. Mexican, Puerto Rican.
Yeah, we'll get a Puerto Rican superhero on screen eventually.
Yeah, El Muerto.
That's not who I want.
Okay. The other doctor is back. Played by Michael Strubog.
Oh,
Strubo.
What the hell's his name? Dr.
West, I think. He's just
he's just a miserable.
He's just kind of like the idiot doctor, and I love that there's an idiot character when they're all fucking doctors.
Yeah,
but he's the idiot doctor.
He's the idiot doctor, so he's still smarter than regular people.
He's the idiot brain surgeon. He's back.
He's just miserable. Talks about the blip and how he lost his cats.
No spoilers, Bert.
That's not a spoiler. That's not even plot relevant.
I told everybody, I promised we wouldn't spoil anything. I think that's all we can say without spoilers. Overall, I enjoyed this film. It made some decisions that a lot of people might disagree with, but me personally, I was all about those decisions, and I liked it. It left me wanting more in certain places, but on the whole, I'm like, hell yeah. It was a great movie, and more importantly, it was a lot of fun and a great time in the theater.
Yes.
And I haven't been that surprised in a theater in a long time, and that was so much fun.
Yeah, like there was parts where I was like, yes.
Yeah. I got really excited in some parts. let's get into it, guys. From here on in, we're going to talk spoilers. I'm going to keep on saying that for a minute in case you are making a sharp left-hand U-turn or something and you don't have time to pause us. From here on in, spoilers. So if you've not seen the movie, I do not recommend listening. Come back after you watch it. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Berto. Okay, let's just go right into the most spoilery thing, the Illuminati, right? Were your expectations for cameos correct or incorrect?
Well, incorrect.
Mine were incorrect across the whole fucking board. I'm 0 for 0, except for Professor X, because he was in the trailer.
Oh, I feel like I knew Captain Carter was going to be there for some reason.
I did not. Nope.
I was surprised though. Everybody I was hoping to see in the movie, I did see though.
Okay.
So there's that.
Like who? Be specific. We're in spoilers.
All right. Reed Richards.
Okay.
Was very happy to have seen him played by John Krasinski.
Didn't see that coming at all. And I should have.
I didn't think they were going to do it.
It was, yes. See, because, okay, you look at the roster of the Illuminati in the comics, and it's Doctor Strange, Professor X, Iron Man, Namor, Black Panther.
I would have liked to see Namor.
Black Bolt, and Reed Richards. I think that's everybody. And it's basically all the Illuminati in the comics is a group of all of Marvel's like super geniuses, but are also like very type A super geniuses or type A characters. And basically they make the secret organization so that they can do things behind the scenes
that they feel other people can't.
Yeah.
They're very arrogant.
Right. That's really what it is. It's Marvel's most arrogant.
Yeah.
Because if the whole world knew they were doing it, they would dissent. Or if the other Avengers knew they were doing it, they might dissent. And it feels like a very kind of Civil War situation, right?
Yes.
Which is why Captain America is not in the Illuminati. So I think really one of the few problems I have with this movie is that this movie treats the Illuminati kind of just like the Avengers in this universe. They defeated Thanos, and they've got this building, and they're very public heroes.
Yeah.
And everybody knows them, and it's kind of like, that defeats the purpose, even in the name, Illuminati. Because they took the name of this, like, purported secret society, right?
Yeah. They're very public with it.
Yeah.
So Reed Richards, John Krasinski was a surprise, but a welcome one, to be sure.
Yes. Thank you.
I think the one that surprised me the most was Black Bolt being played by Anson Mount.
Yes. Okay, so we have on this Illuminati, it's Captain Carter. What's her name?
Peggy?
Yeah, but what's her real name?
Oh.
Haley Atwell.
Yes.
Black Bolt. Blackagar Boltagon, which I love.
Nobody calls him that, though.
But it's his name, and it's important to realize how ridiculous of a name it is. And I love that Doctor Strange makes fun of it.
Well, yeah. Because it's a ridiculous name. That's why everybody calls him Black Bolt in the comics.
Professor X, played by Sir Patrick Stewart, Reed Richards, John Krasinski, and Captain Marvel, but played by I didn't write it down.
I don't remember the actor's name.
Something Lynch.
Monica
it's Maria. No, it's
Maria Rambeau.
Rambeau, yeah.
Who she seemed like she would actually play a very good Captain Marvel.
Lashana Lynch. Yeah, so she played Maria Rambeau in Captain Marvel. She's from the 90s.
Yes.
She dies of cancer in present day, like 30 years later.
As seen in WandaVision.
Yeah. And then her daughter ends up becoming, it's Monica Rambeau, ends up becoming Pulsar. And for a second, I got them confused. So I thought that was Pulsar, but no, that is
Captain Marvel.
That's Carol Danvers' pilot buddy. I guess in her universe,
she's the one that went on that test flight instead of
right, and
Carol.
so she becomes Captain Marvel.
It's a very simple difference.
Yeah, it seems very what if.
Yeah.
You know, like instead of
this whole universe seems like a what if universe. This movie feels a lot like a what if movie in tone.
Well, speaking of what if, a lot of people thought that because of the trailers, we were going to get specific characters from what if. And we didn't. We
only got Captain Carter, really.
Yeah, but even that, she's not the same Captain Carter from the What If episode.
This was a much more arrogant Captain Carter.
This is a different Captain Carter. Yeah. And that's the other thing. I'm like, would Captain Carter be on the Illuminati? I mean, it's like, well, if she's an Avenger.
Not the one we saw.
But also, they have Avengers in this universe because they say that she's the first Avenger.
True.
In her introduction. So, like, the Avengers either exist
Or Thanos killed him?
Or they're disbanded, and now it's just the Illuminati. I'm very interested in Universe 838 or whatever they called it.
Oh, yeah.
It's because it's a very silly universe.
But it's also like, it's a universe where mutants exist, Inhumans exist.
Well,
maybe it's a universe where Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is canon. And Ghost Rider's out there running around.
I thought you were going to throw in, you were hoping to see Ghost Rider on the Illuminati. He would never belong.
He wouldn't be on the Illuminati, though. Yeah,
never.
No. He would think it's very immoral. He'd have qualms.
They'd kick him right off of that. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, anyway, it's a really silly universe where red means go. Red doesn't mean go in any universe.
They have pizza bowls.
Oh, yeah.
Is it pizza bowls or pizza balls?
It's pizza balls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pizza balls. Sold by Pizza Papa.
Oh, that's Bruce Campbell's character, right? Have you seen Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2?
Yes.
So that's a gag from that movie,
when
right?
His hand becomes possessed and he starts beating himself up. And that's why he cuts off his hand and replaces it with the chainsaw.
Oh,
in those movies.
I need to watch those.
Spoiler.
For these movies that are like 20-some years old.
They might be
old 30
They
years
might be
old.
30-something. Yeah. They're old movies.
So that's why he looked at the camera. Because he's like,
so we know
get it? Do you get it?
Yeah. Summer sitting next to me didn't know who he was. I had to explain it to her when I was like, because I was getting excited when I saw Bruce Campbell. She's like, why are you so excited?
We knew he was going to be in it just because he's in all of his movies.
Yeah.
And you only need to see more than one. You really only need to see Spider-Man to know that.
And I think the only thing I said to her was, that's the guy that's in all the Spider-Man movies. That was the simplest way I can explain it. And she just goes, oh. And then at the end of the movie, during the second post-credit scene, that's when Garrett goes, hey, that's the ticket taker from the from the theater. I was like, great. Oh my God.
So none of the rumors that I saw came true, which is amazing. That Marvel is like,
we're not doing that.
Yeah. No, but that they don't, nothing leaks anymore, because the leaks that we saw were when the movie was already out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Nothing leaks during production, really.
Yeah. There were a couple theories for what would be in this movie. The two that I thought might be true, for one, I thought we were going to get a Deadpool cameo. I thought maybe he'd, not in a story way, because he doesn't really fit the story, but I thought maybe he'd be in one of those cages. In one of the cells, be like, oh yeah, we got this guy from a different universe. And he'd just be like...
If they were to do it, that'd probably be a good way to do it.
Yeah, just like a 1-second gag, and he's like, can I get out of here? And then cut away, and then whatever, it's done. It'd be like a Howard the Duck situation.
Yeah.
The second one was, we were so sure that there was going to be a superior Iron Man played by Tom Cruise. And that did not happen. I feel like we watched 2 Tom Cruise movies for nothing.
They were great movies, both of them.
But that's why we were doing it for this. And we were wrong. And we were we were kind of sure of it too.
Yeah, if anybody were to show up, I was sure it would be him.
Yeah. I was convinced. I don't
maybe
know.
They didn't want to kill another Tony Stark.
The thing is, though, and looking at the Illuminati and looking at this whole movie and that scene, I think he was kind of sorely missed. I feel like the team would have
benefited.
Yeah, I think it would have rounded out the whole little cast of characters by having a Tony Stark Iron Man.
Being kind of like a pretentious dick or something.
Yeah, being that character, the superior Iron Man. Maybe they have plans for him somewhere else. Who knows? I would have just liked to see that as just a one-off for Tom Cruise, because I don't want Tony Stark back. We had him for 20 movies or whatever. I think it's fine.
His story's done, and that's fine.
Yeah.
His legacy can live on, though.
Exactly. And in the same way, it's great to see, Peggy Carter as Captain America, basically.
Yeah.
I think it would have been fun to see, a similarly different version of another iconic Marvel character, specifically an MCU character.
Yeah. I think if you were to swap anybody, they maybe could have swapped out Captain Marvel for Iron Man.
Even Black Bolt. Black Bolt had some things to do, though. He yelled a lot.
Black Bolt had some things to do.
Yeah.
And it made for one of the most brutal scenes in the whole movie. Before we get to that, though, I want to ask what you think about, now that we got, John Krasinski as Reed Richards, do you think this is a sign that he will be the main MCU's Reed Richards, or was this just a one-off thing?
Yeah, I had that written down for you. So the Reed Richards thing, John Krasinski has long been the favorite fan casting for Reed Richards.
I've seen so many Photoshop pictures.
Oh my God, yeah.
And in this movie, he kind of looked like the Photoshop pictures.
Yeah. I thought that was funny because they took he currently has like a big beard.
Yeah.
And they used like an image from him, I think as what's the
Jack? Not Jack Reacher.
Yeah, I keep thinking about Jack Reacher. It's not Jack Reacher. It's the
It's the other Jack. He's also Jack though, right? The Tom Clancy thing.
Yeah, the Tom Clancy show. What is that? God damn it, we're idiots.
Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan. Thank you.
I knew it was another Jack.
I think it's an image from Jack Ryan that they just kind of Photoshop Fantastic Four on top of.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in the chat, Eduardo is saying that he thinks he was put there in reshoots. Now, apparently this movie got extensive reshoots. And I do agree that probably a lot of this Illuminati stuff was done in reshoots. I think maybe the cast of the Illuminati might have changed as the movie evolved. Maybe they swapped out different characters here and there. I wanted to talk about What If because they took a lot of concepts from What If, the TV show that we got, and they put it in this without it being a one-to-one, right? Yeah. Because we have zombie Doctor Strange, right?
Yep.
There is a zombie Doctor Strange in this. It's not the same kind of zombie.
Yeah.
Right? Doctor Strange reanimates a dead version of himself for purposes.
Yeah.
But it's not your classic zombie like what we saw in What If.
It wasn't from like the zombie universe.
Yeah. And we thought we were going to get a zombie Wanda. Not a zombie Wanda. Just a Wanda covered in a shit ton of blood.
And that looked pretty scary.
And looked scary. And we just assumed that she was a zombie. Because she was also injured and couldn't walk straight.
We also thought that Strange Supreme was going to be in this.
Yes, and he's not. It's just a very similar dark, evil Doctor Strange.
Which I guess is called Sinister Strange is what he's called.
Great stuff. And then there's also Captain Carter, obviously, who made her debut in What If, and we thought maybe a variant of that we'd see. So these are all kind of either variants or similar concepts, but they're not one-to-one. And what's interesting is that's what If the comic book was for. Yeah. It was to test out these crazy concepts, and if people like them,
it was used.
They used them in the regular comics also. Yeah. So I kind of like that.
I also like that there's different variants of different variants also.
It's getting wild.
And it's not too much to, at least right now, it doesn't feel like too much to keep track of either, because it's like we still have like our main universe.
Yeah.
Because so far everything that's happened to other universes hasn't been super consequential.
So before we come, I keep putting it off talking about John Krasinski. No, let's do John Krasinski first. We're going to come back to this. I'm going to put a pin in this.
Okay.
What I was saying, he's the popular fan casting for this. And one of my favorite things about this movie is that this movie now has two of the most fan castings come to life examples in one movie, which is Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange and John Krasinski as Reed Richards. If you recall, for years before Doctor Strange happened, people were fan casting Benedict Cumberbatch. Great actor. He looks the part. He would work perfectly. And that was the popular theory. Marvel approached him for these reasons, and he wasn't available to do it.
Was he doing like Star Trek?
No, he was doing something on stage, either on Broadway or out in London. And so what they did instead was they delayed the movie, which is
for him
today unheard of, that you would delay a movie for any reason.
It's like, well, we really want you, so we'll wait.
Yeah, they said it'd be worth the investment. They delayed the movie to get Benedict Cumberbatch, and he's kind of the perfect Doctor Strange, right?
He's very good in the role.
Yeah, so he's a fan casting come to life. And then the other big one has been for the last few years, ever since Fan Four Stick was horrible. And everyone's like, all right, well, who's next? When they do him in the MCU, who's it going to be? You know, and everybody goes to John Krasinski. I don't know why.
And people really want Emily Blunt as Sue Storm.
Yeah, it would be perfect. But I don't know why he sort of got picked out of whatever, but like, yeah, I mean.
I also don't know why it works so well.
I don't either. It does, but I don't know why. Like, he would be perfect. And it's funny because, like, he auditioned for Captain America.
Yeah.
And then he just...
This was back when he was, like, small, too.
Yeah, and he just felt like he was too scrawny for it. He's like, this is embarrassing.
He was still on The Office. He was still Jim Halpert.
Yeah. God, it's perfect. So, the burning question is, will he come back, right? I think, absolutely. I think Marvel would be so dumb to just be like, hey, you know how you guys want this really cool fan casting? Yeah, we're gonna give it to you. It's basically an Easter egg. It's a
and
gag.
then we're gonna kill him off.
And then we're actually gonna use Fantastic Four movie that's coming out in a few years.
We're actually gonna use Miles Teller again.
Yeah, we're gonna use some other guy. No. This is what people want, and if you just give it to them, this is not enough. They're gonna want more, right? Now, this is different than, say, Charles Xavier being played by Patrick Stewart, because we had him for many movies. Like, he was in like
there's a familiarity
8 films.
there.
Like, he had his run, and so this is a callback.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But Reed Richards is a brand new character in the MCU. We've only seen him in other universes and other movies. So, and we know he has a movie coming up. So this is different than that because this is brand new, and they absolutely need to bring him back. And what I imagine is going to happen now is because Fantastic Four lost their director. It's going to be John Watts,
right?
Who wanted a break from movies after doing 3 Spider-Man movies 2 years apart.
One which is looking to become one of the biggest movies ever.
Yeah. So he's like, give me a break or whatever. He stepped away from Fantastic Four just for that reason, no ill will. And so obviously Marvel has to go find the next person to do it. I think Marvel's going to do that pretty quickly. They're pretty good at that.
John Krasinski to direct it.
Hey, that could be awesome. He's a great director. I don't know if he'd do it, but he's a great director. I think what's going to happen is, because obviously they're going to be quiet to avoid spoilers.
Yeah.
It's not like John Krasinski walked the red carpet. As soon as they announce who the next director is going to be, they're going to announce at least some of the casting, because everyone's going to go.
Directed by John Krasinski, starring John Krasinski, Emily Blunt, and
who cares? I don't care about the other two. One's a CGI monster anyway.
It's got to have a good voice.
They're both CGI monsters anyway.
One is able to transform back and forth.
So yeah, I think he's coming back. What are your thoughts? Because some people think that.
I think he should.
Some people think this is just a gag, and they're like, "Oh, cool, we got it." No, they're going to cast somebody else for the movie.
And they could still do that, but like you said, I don't think that'd be the smart move.
It'd be a huge disappointment.
Especially since they already got him.
Right, they got him in the door. Like, what are you doing?
The only way I could see that not working out is if John Krasinski doesn't want to do it.
Right.
Like, if he was like, I just wanted to do the one thing, man. I really need to focus on Jack Reacher.
Yeah. On that note, how great was Professor X?
He was fantastic. It was so good seeing Patrick Stewart reprising the role, and not in the way he did in Logan, where he was kind of like losing it.
Yeah, but it's different, because
it's different.
That's a different version of that character.
Right, it's different. It was refreshing.
Variants.
It was refreshing to see him how he was in the older movies.
Yeah. He's got his floating yellow wheelchair from the cartoons.
They played the motif from the animated series.
Let me tell you. Yeah. The music from the animated series. So this entire sequence, I missed all the dialogue. And I have a question for you about that, because I wasn't paying attention because I was just so fucking excited by what I was seeing.
No, at this point, my heart was like,
like, and I knew I was getting Patrick Stewart, so I was excited and I was very happy. And then, Mordo's like, and here's Reed Richards, and I'm like, God damn! I threw my hat down. I started punching the seat. Like, Sable had to tell me to calm down. It was a whole
and you're like,
thing.
You don't understand.
I'm like, no, you calm down. You need to get hype. Is what you need to do. Because this is amazing.
You're too calm.
And then John Krasinski had a whole 5 lines, and I missed them all
because you were just too excited.
I was just too excited, and people there's a lot of audible gasps going on.
Oh, people were shocked.
Yes,
I think I heard multiple people go "Holy fucking shit!"
Yeah, that's the kind of thing you get at the premiere, the Thursday night previews.
Yeah.
Can you explain to me what an incursion is? Because I forgot to look it up.
It's when two universes kind of collide into each other.
Okay, because Richards explained that, and I was too. All I could think about was how good it is to see John Krasinski as in the Fantastic Four getup. The whole thing,
yeah,
just works so well. So what makes them do that?
I don't know. I was too excited.
Oh, see, God damn it, that's the thing.
I do know in the comics, so incursions and stuff. That's kind of what happens with the Secret Wars plot, where we deleted the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah.
Except
for Miles Morales.
Yeah, well, we kept the good stuff from it, which is pretty much just the Spider-Man stuff.
That's also how the Ultimate Universe started. It was the first title.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
It started off as a very good Spider-Man run. Then, Ultimate X-Men came around. It was weird. Ultimate Fantastic Four came out. It was weird. There's a lot of cannibalism and weird, edgy stuff.
Yeah.
Incest, all that great stuff.
Great. Later in this movie, they go to a universe that had an incursion and just like, it's weird. It looks like a nightmare.
Yeah, it's basically destroyed.
But I wanted to know, and I guess I'm going to see the movie again because I didn't fully understand what causes an incursion. Like, what are the things that we have to watch out for? Because was it from Doctor Strange using the Darkhold? Is that why they had to kill him? Out of fear of an incursion?
I don't know if just using the Darkhold creates an incursion.
Or like what he was doing.
If he was dreamwalking into other universes. So maybe that's what was, not necessarily the Darkhold, but what he was doing with it.
I love the part of this movie where Wanda, and this is in the trailers too, she's like, I break the rules and I'm the villain. You break the rules and it's fine, and I don't think that's fair. On the one hand, it seems like a very classic, like, yeah, when the male character does it, it's fine. When the female character does it,
that's not what it is at all.
How dare she? No. On a tiny level, I think it's a little bit of that. But he does seem to get away with everything, whereas other characters wouldn't.
Well, a lot of it is the reason why he's doing it. He's doing it to save everything. She's doing it for herself.
Yeah, but in the last movie, he got to break all the rules also
to save everything.
Listen, here's the thing.
It's the reason he's doing it. That's
the other. What about all the other Doctor Stranges that were either killed for doing it, or the one who like lives in a fucking hellscape that we meet, the Sinister Strange?
Those Doctor Stranges.
Why does our Doctor Strange get away with it?
Because he's the one learning lessons. He learns a lesson in this movie. He's different than he was at the start.
Is he different than he was in Spider-Man when he's just like, yeah, well, let's fuck with the temporal reality. Who gives a shit? Just so that you can get into... Did you not email them first?
Yeah. He learned a lesson from that too. Okay. And they even mention it.
I like Doctor Strange. Don't get me wrong.
I think like this Doctor Strange specifically seems to be the only one that like... He's not as egotistical as the others, it seems. He's willing to give a little bit.
No, see, I made this argument that the first Doctor Strange movie was about him realizing to not be egotistical, that the world is not about him anymore. That's the whole theme of that movie. And by the end, he realized to, yes, make some sacrifices, focus on the good of everybody instead of just the good of for myself, right? Which is what he was when he was a surgeon.
Right.
Because at one point, someone, I think it's the Ancient One or it's Rachel McAdams' character who goes, you only take the cases that make you look good, give you the glory, not the ones that are going to help people. And he's like, yeah, it's Rachel McAdams. Because he's like, yeah, you're the ER doctor. You get to help the fucking crackheads who shoot each other. But, and then, Ancient One kind of says something similar to him. And I think that's the lesson he learns in that movie, which and then later, like in Infinity War, yeah, obviously he has to sacrifice himself. And he knows he's doing it, and that's why he gives away the Time Stone.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I saw any lessons learned in Spider-Man or in this. I don't know. I just feel like he broke a lot of rules. He got away with it.
I think he learned a little bit of humanity in Spider-Man. Because the Strange we see at the beginning of this movie is immediately willing to sacrifice America. And the thing he says is what he says in Spider-Man. In the grand calculus of the universe,
that's what the other Strange
sacrifice
said,
is more important than...
Yeah, but that's what the other Strange said.
Yes, but that's how this Strange was in Spider-Man before Peter taught him a little something.
I thought he learned most of his lessons from America, honestly.
I think he learned something from Peter Parker.
Okay.
He was very sad when he had to cast that spell at the end and forget him. He was crying.
Maybe a little bit. Also, I was going to say he remembered Spider-Man, though, but he doesn't. He remembers Spider-Man.
Not
he doesn't
Peter.
know Peter Parker.
Does he shoot webs from his butt? I don't know. I hope not.
I wonder if that's something that he learned from Peter Parker, but forgot because he learned it from Peter Parker and not from Spider-Man.
So now he doesn't know where
the webbing comes from.
It is a direct quote from No Way Home.
I know it is. I knew that part. I remember
that Doctor Strange didn't learn his lesson. He got killed.
I remember the line about fucking the grand calculus. It's a great line.
Doctor Strange is willing to learn and adapt. Okay. That's the difference.
He does adapt, but I feel like he only adapts because he's provided with a lot of data on the subject. America's like, in no other universe are you better. You're better in this universe. And so he's learning. He's like, okay, well, let me learn from all their mistakes, just like in Infinity War, where he watched 14 million other failures to find the one thing that'll make him win.
Yeah. Oh man, he watched so many seasons of What If.
Anyway, let's move on. Before we get into kind of the categories, because
we haven't talked about the death scenes.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about that.
We didn't talk about that at all, really.
Okay. We're jumping around a lot, but yeah, so the Illuminati fight Wanda, they all die, and it's
brutal.
It's horrific.
It's what a lot of people think might have almost pushed this to an R rating.
I think a couple more ounces of blood and it would have been R rated.
If the fucking Matrix was rated R, then yeah.
Matrix was rated R for a kick to the head.
Well, that's dumb.
Mm-hmm. It's the one thing that pushed it over.
But yeah, we start with Black Bolt's
hold on a second.
death.
There are machine guns mowing people down in that movie, and all that's fine. You kick one person in the head, it's rated R.
Yeah.
God. Anyway, continue.
Wait, why isn't Karate Kid rated R?
Did they kick him in the head?
Yeah, that's how he wins the tournament.
Yeah, but I think the guy in Matrix dies.
Okay. Anyway, all right. So Illuminati death scenes. The first one we get is
Black Bolt.
Black Bolt, which...
Oh, speaking of the Matrix, when it takes the mouth away.
Holy shit, yeah, that's exactly
That's
like
exactly
the Matrix.
what happened. and
how can you call the cops? Or no, how can you make your phone call if you
can't speak?
If you can't speak.
And in this one, she also makes a quippy line back. She's like, "What mouth?" And he's like,
After Reed Richards stupidly gave away Black Bolt's secret.
Yeah, Wanda doesn't know him. It's not like he's an Avenger who Wanda's worked with in the past.
So
you know?
I think Black Bolt would have won that fight if Reed kept his mouth shut.
Yeah. This Reed Richards is called the smartest man alive, but again, this whole silly Red Means Go universe.
Maybe this universe just isn't that smart.
I don't take any of this universe that serious. God damn it.
And did you see Black Bolt's like smug smile as he's about to like say something too?
Yeah. But then he doesn't have a mouth. And then his entire brain collapses in on itself.
Yeah. Did he already like have the power like set to go or something, or is it because he like panicked and made a noise?
Is it that his mouth, the sound waves are trapped in his skull? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Or does she like she use her powers to kill him?
When he speaks, it creates just such power that
Right.
escapes his mouth that it just obliterates anything in front of him.
I didn't think they were all gonna die.
But like, we see Black Bolt's head just basically explode.
Implode. Both, actually. I think it implodes on one side and then it explodes out of the other side.
Yeah, because you see something fly out.
Yeah.
And that one might have been the most gross one, but then we see
I think
Reed Richards get like unraveled and then his head just pops.
the unraveling was a lot like in Infinity War where Thanos does that to the Guardians, but it was fake in that movie.
Yeah,
and this movie is very real. And then his head pops like a pimple.
Yep.
And that was horrifying.
So there's two down right off the bat.
I don't think Captain Marvel just kind of explodes. It's not horrific, right?
No, Captain Marvel gets like crushed by a statue.
Yes.
She might actually be alive.
She's very strong.
Captain Carter gets fucking sliced in half by her own shield.
That shield
was covered in blood.
Is it kills a lot of people. That's all I'm saying nowadays.
Yeah, that shield was covered in blood.
And then you know what, the one that got me the most
Xavier
was snapping Xavier's neck
in his mind, which ended up like snapping his neck in person too.
Oh yeah.
And also did that scene feel very much like a Phoenix Force thing to you? Because it did to me.
So actually yes, because I was a little bit confused. The Scarlet Witch, as the MCU has created her, is very similar to the Phoenix.
Yeah.
Where it's this kind of a super thing inside of you that's been there forever, and you're just kind of its host for now.
Yeah.
And it will unleash its power through you. Scarlet Witch is apparently this legendary witch, but Wanda is its current host, right? So that is very similar to Phoenix. And throughout this movie, not throughout this movie, but in this one scene, I wondered, is the Scarlet Witch controlling Wanda against Wanda's natural will? You know? And I think no, but in that scene, it made me think yes, because I was confused as to who Xavier was talking to under the rubble.
Well, I was too, because I'm like, is he talking to like our Wanda that we know, or the Wanda that's currently being possessed by the dream walking Wanda?
But that's what it is.
Yeah,
that's the Wanda who is shut out because that's her body.
Yeah,
and the regular Wanda is using her body to dream walking.
Okay.
I mean, you can still have your theories about what is the Scarlet Witch, but
yeah, but in that scene, he was talking to the Wanda of his universe.
Yeah, and a lot of the motivations for Wanda are from Wanda specifically. It's not so much like Scarlet Witch, like some ancient creature. It's not ancient creature motivations. I think
she's definitely being influenced by the Darkhold.
Sure, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And this movie makes a point to say that, like, the Darkhold...
It corrupts you.
Yeah, it corrupts you. It takes a toll.
Yeah, and turns you into something that you might not necessarily... Because in none of these other universes is Wanda the Scarlet Witch.
You think? I mean, it's not.
She's just...
I don't know.
She seems like everything that we've seen is just Wanda's just an innocent...
magic
house mom that happens to know magic.
Oh, real quick. Did this movie correctly or incorrectly label the MCU main universe as 616?
I think incorrectly. But I feel like it really wants the MCU to be 616.
The thing is I feel like a real arrogant nerd for saying that. And be like, oh no, like, yeah, they said it's 616, but it's not really 616 because the encyclopedia says that it's 1999999.
Right. And it doesn't have to be 1999999, but
it's 5 nines, by the way. I had to look it up.
But if they're trying to make our main MCU universe 616, then the MCU is going to have to be its own separate multiverse entirely. Like, it can't connect to the comics in any way then.
True. Not that it ever would, because those are comics.
But then you're taking away that option.
Yeah. So in Marvel, basically, it's not like these are the movie versions of the 616 Marvel Universe or anything like that. Every specific iteration of anything is its own universe within the grand calculus of the multiverse, right? Yeah. So the comic universes are all labeled, and therefore so are all the other universes in different media. So TV shows are set in their universes, movies are set in their own universes, and they can all connect if they wanted to. What I've realized that at least in the MCU, animation is both a characteristic of the universe that they're in, and also just a medium that we see the stuff in, right?
Yeah.
Because in this movie, he travels to different universes. And in one,
he's a cartoon.
He's a cartoon.
Yeah.
In another, he's paint. And then when he comes out and he's like, were we just paint just then? And she's like, yeah, that one's weird. So that implies that he also knew that he was a cartoon right before that.
Yeah.
It's so similar to like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. When different universes connect, they bring whatever like universe look they had.
Whatever like quality.
Yeah, exactly. Quality. So like, Spider-Pig looks like a Looney Tune. That's the way he's animated.
Yep.
And obviously some of the other ones, there was a clash.
That's how he looks in this like 3D world.
Yeah. And that movie is great because they all had different animation styles.
Yep.
Because they come from different animated or comic universes.
Mm-hmm.
So if any of those characters were to jump into this, in theory, we would have a Who Framed Roger Rabbit situation where we have animation and live action coexisting, right?
Which might look a little too ridiculous.
Yeah, so
honestly.
They probably won't do it. But you know what? Like if they were to do in Spider-Verse, if they were to bring in characters like Tobey Maguire, they should just put in Tobey Maguire in this cartoon. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what you should, because it's a ridiculous cartoon anyway.
Right.
Like
it works because it's primarily a cartoon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, so in the What If universe is like in that TV show, I think those characters are animated, but at the same time, we did see some of there was glimpses of the actual MCU live action movie scenes we saw, and they animated them because that was the medium of the TV show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anyway, point is, the MCU has already been labeled. I don't know by whom. I don't know how they got this, but it's Universe 199999959. So by her calling it the 616 universe, which is not the first time it's been called 616, it's a third time we said this.
Mm-hmm.
Mysterio calls it the 616 universe, even though he's making it up.
Yeah.
He doesn't know that. He just got lucky.
He's bullshitting.
He's bullshitting, but it's just an Easter egg. And then in Thor,
the Dark
Dr.
World.
Selvig writes 616 on his chalkboard of the convergence theory.
Yeah, referring to, I think our universe is a 616, or
Yeah.
our world is a 616 one.
Look, they're all Easter eggs. But I think if we actually label the mainline universe within the MCU the 616, then you kind of it becomes a problem because
It becomes confusing.
Because then it's like, how does this coexist? So like what you're saying is, even within the multiverse, the comic books do not coexist with the MCU, is what you're saying. Doesn't make any sense.
Also, when it comes to like organizing things, like content-wise, it makes it confusing too.
Yeah. So I think it's just an Easter egg, and everyone I've talked to thinks it's just an Easter egg. But we're all nerds.
616 is the main continuity of the Marvel comics that's been going on since like the 60s, even before that.
The 40s.
40s, since Captain America.
Yeah. Since like fucking Namor
and Captain America and
those
the
characters,
Human Torch.
Yeah.
The first Human Torch, who is not the Fantastic Four Human Torch.
Right. But that's just what Christine from this universe said. And the concept of Christine getting married. No, the concept of him not getting Christine.
That's a constant.
And and looking for a different Christine. That's from the What If universe also. That's from that episode.
Sort of.
You think they took that from somewhere else?
No, I mean like in What If he's not looking for a different Christine.
No. But he keeps on trying to get Christine and he can't do it.
Can't.
Whereas in this, it's kind of like,
it seems like no matter what, Doctor Strange is not meant to be with Christine.
That concept is in this movie.
Which brings us to the post-credit scene where Clea Strange shows up.
Yeah. Before you do that, so this Christine who labeled this universe as 616, I just don't trust her because she's from the silly Red Means Go universe.
And her hair is red.
And it's a silly place.
Her hair is red, but it's like not real red. Something off about her.
Okay, let's break this up into a couple categories before we wrap this up. Story-wise, what do you think about the story in general?
I think the main plot is relatively simple, but the way it's done is kind of like it's done in a unique and seemingly complicated way. At the end of the day, it's just Wanda coming after America.
Yeah, I mean, classic America's your...
America's kind of the plot device.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the story. I thought, like I said, it surprised me every step of the way. Mm-hmm. I think what you're saying is like, yeah, it's a simple story that it's made...
story, but it's done like very well, and they made it so like there's so much going on though.
Yeah, there's a lot of, they dressed it up a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of threads here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the main kind of story arc, it's pretty simple. Yeah, I guess what you're saying.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed making Wanda the villain right from the beginning of the movie. It's not what I thought was going to happen.
They didn't pussyfoot around it at all.
No, I thought it was going to be a situation where Wanda's going to help them for most of the movie, and at the end, maybe they have a scuffle. That's what I thought was going to happen. Mm. And instead, it just Wanda's at the very beginning of the movie. She's like, "No, I'm coming for you. Fucking deal. Like, be prepared."
Yeah.
And I was immediately on the edge of my seat because that's not how I thought that conversation was going to go.
Well, I think the reason why that worked so well is because Wanda's already an established character.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange is already an established character. The only new thing here is America Chavez. Uh-huh. And piggybacking off of what happened in WandaVision, that already kind of ended with her doing something very questionable.
Yeah.
It ends with her just studying the Darkhold, which we know is the Book of the Damned.
So a lot of people I saw that they didn't think this is consistent with WandaVision, and they didn't think that Wanda should be treated like a straight up villain. And to them, I say, did you really watch WandaVision?
She's the villain of WandaVision.
Well, yes, but she's also the protagonist, which is fine.
Which
those two things can go together.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, in WandaVision, that whole show was her emotional journey to get closure from the loss of Vision. Mm-hmm. However, in doing so, she created two children that she became even equally or more attached to.
And then lost them.
And then lost them. So the thing about WandaVision is that she got closure from one loss, but then in doing so created a different loss that she has not gotten closure from.
No.
And at the very end of WandaVision, it's not like this is a retcon or anything like that. At the end, she is studying the Darkhold, the thing that she stole from Agatha, the villain of that show.
And she finds a universe that her kids are in.
Exactly. That is in there. So I think this is a very direct connection to that. It's not like it's not like this came out of left field. I think this only comes out of left field if you
weren't paying attention.
Yeah, or if you're a real Wanda sympathizer. Because I see a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, a mother will do all kinds of things in her trauma, and she says this in this movie, but it's like, that doesn't make you right. Like, you enslaved a lot of people, and that's bad. Now, were you going through a lot of shit? Yeah, of course. And that adds a lot of nuance and layers to it. But at the same time, you are willing to do a lot of bad things to get the things that you want.
You murdered a lot of good people.
In this,
you might have fucked over a universe.
Oh yeah, but that's a silly universe. Fuck them.
It's an entire universe.
It's a red means go universe, and they're dead now. No Illuminati, no Avengers. They're fucked.
The second any threat attacks them, they're fucked now.
Incursion.
They have Christine Palmer. That's it.
I thought she was going to jump ship. Well, at the end, she's like, "Yeah, it is too bad that I can't come with you because we seem like the right strange Christine couple that'll work."
But yeah, too bad they're from different universes.
Yeah.
When she asked, like, what's your universe like? I was just thinking, oh, he's probably going to say, like, mine's canon or something.
Mine's saved. See ya. So, what do you think? Do you think that she should have been the villain?
Yeah, I think that was absolutely the right call, and it worked perfectly.
She's also the villain quite oftentimes in the comics.
Yeah, this is nothing new.
No. She's fucking with shit all the time in the comics, and they have to stop her.
Yeah, she like erases all mutants from existence at some point.
Right. No more mutants.
Yeah.
I quite liked it. I thought, look, we have a lot of Marvel characters. We have a lot of heroes, a lot of Avengers. They don't all have to be perfect heroes. No. I'm perfectly okay with some of them falling to darkness, and then they get a little redemption at the end, and then they gotta die. They got the Darth Vader route, right? You can't... Yeah. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain, right?
All right, Harvey.
Look, if this is the end of Wanda, looking at her trajectory, her character arc, I quite enjoy it because she is kind of this troubled kid at first, barely can use her powers, to then becoming clearly the strongest person.
She's the strongest Avenger. Thor's got nothing on her.
No, by far. Like, the debate is over. Yeah. And the only thing that killed her was herself.
If she's even dead.
If she's dead, that's the other thing.
I don't think she is.
So, like, thematically, it made it seem like narratively, it made it seem like she's like, I got to put an end to all of this. Not just the Darkhold herself. But, like, can she kill herself? Yeah. She's probably strong enough to kill herself, right?
Maybe she's too strong to kill herself, if that makes sense.
No, that doesn't make any sense.
She's so strong that she cannot die from herself.
Then she's
kind of like a Hulk thing.
Then she's not strong enough to kill herself. You gotta think
she's strong enough to save herself.
Offense points or defense points?
What if they're equal? Then what the fuck do? You're stuck.
Well, maybe she's under all those rocks and just like
just chilling. Maybe she's just laying there and like, I deserve this.
I'm just gonna sit here and starve, I guess. Can I starve?
I don't even think she can starve, honestly.
She's an immortal witch spirit. The man named John says, no body, not dead.
That's true.
And comics and movies, let me tell you, if you don't see that severed head, even then, severed head doesn't mean anything.
I think she'll come back at some point. I don't know in what capacity.
I don't know. I don't either. I've heard good arguments both ways.
Apparently, she also just renewed her contract with Marvel.
Well, there you go, people. I thought if we see another version of her, maybe it'll be a variant from another universe, not this specific Wanda, because she did a lot of fucking shit in this movie.
Oh, it's like unforgivable shit.
She killed a lot of people in our mainline universe, not just in the silly universe nobody cares about.
Yeah.
Like, in this universe.
So many sorcerers.
So many sorcerers. That fight, the big kind of war epic fight at Kamartaj, I thought was both good and bad, by the way. Because I really liked the idea. But it kind of fell flat for me because it's like, these are all the best wizards and sorcerers, and all they can do is do
a shield,
like some shields, and then also some like bow and arrows.
Well, there's not like 50 Doctor Stranges. There's only one.
But you would think they're at least sorcerers. They could do more than just like fucking kung fu magic weapons. It's like the whole thing
with like, you know, like the Green Lantern Corps and Nova Corps. It's like they all suck except for like the main character.
I guess. So it's just like Wong
and Strange.
Strange and that black girl. I don't remember her name.
Yeah, but she died.
Yeah, but she was pretty good.
She was good for like a second.
The Minotaur, maybe. Yeah, maybe the Minotaur sucks.
Thank God Ned wasn't there.
Could you imagine if Ned is also there? And like Rogue, he's like, oh, this is my fucking first day, guys. Like, Anyway, but I mean, I thought the idea was awesome. It seemed like a war epic. It seemed like a mini Infinity War or a mini Civil War, like in this moment.
Yeah. Doctor Strange mentions that Mordo spent most of his time trying to kill him. We don't see any of that.
Okay. Yes.
But I love the idea of Mordo just like constantly trying to kill Doctor Strange and failing.
There's a thing, and this is why this should not have been a Doctor Strange 2. This should have been a Doctor Strange 3. It's been like 6 years since Doctor Strange 2 came out. Or Doctor Strange 1, I'm sorry. They should have made another one because
something happened in between all this.
I know a bunch of stuff happened. We just didn't see it in the movie because there were a lot of threads that the first Doctor Strange movie set up that we didn't get because so much time has passed. One being that Mordo has this mission to fucking
rid
kill
the world
all
of sorcerers.
Yeah. And apparently
he took away, what was his name? Pangborn's
fucking ability to walk.
Yeah, what
an
a
asshole.
fucking dickhead, man.
Benjamin Bratt can't play basketball anymore. That's his favorite thing to do. In Catwoman.
Oh, man.
Because I caught that line and I'm like, oh, because I wondered after watching the 2016 Doctor Strange, I'm like, so what's Mordo's deal now? Because they set that up to be like the premise of the next movie and that movie never got made.
Yeah.
Because Doctor Strange didn't happen for another 6 years. So it's like what does that mean for Mordo's character? Like we never saw that movie and apparently it just happened and we didn't see it.
Did Mordo get blipped?
I don't think it matters.
Or did he not get blipped and he was like, oh, Strange is gone. My mission is complete.
But then he would have fought Wong probably. Wong didn't get blipped.
Oh, yeah. Wong didn't get blipped.
He became Sorcerer Supreme, which is a funny bit in this
technicality.
movie. Yeah. Everyone bows to him.
It's customary.
Yeah, so I just love that off screen they had a whole fight.
And he just offhandedly is like, oh, yeah, he keeps trying to kill me.
Yeah.
He always hated me.
Cinematography, this has a lot of very interesting stylistic choices in terms of transitions.
Oh, very
zooms,
Sam Raimi.
Extreme close-ups.
Yep.
It is very Sam Raimi.
Breaking the fourth wall with camera stares. Wanda does it at one point.
Yeah.
Is it after she does like the ring thing, where the ring / Pennywise thing where she like contorts her body?
No, it was at the end. It was at the end when she's like dying or something.
It was while she was like still bad though.
No. It's when she speaks to. It's at the end of her speaking to the other Wanda. She looks at the camera.
Okay. She looks like directly at the camera.
Yeah, but it's not. I didn't take that as.
I took it as she's aware of us.
No.
Come on, what if did it?
I didn't take it like that. I took it like she's looking at.
She's looking at the watcher.
The other Wanda, but because she's looking at the camera, it's supposed to be kind of like looking at a mirror. You feel like she is kind of self-reflecting now. Anyway, that's how I took it.
And Bruce Campbell looks at the camera.
Bruce Campbell looks at the camera.
That's his thing.
You sent me.
It's over.
Yeah. You sent me a comment on Reddit that said, "I cannot believe 2 characters looked at the camera in this movie, and not one of them was John Krasinski."
Yep.
Which is hilarious. No, but I quite liked some of those zoom ins. It's almost like a kung fu movie. When Doctor Strange and Mordo lock eyes for the first time and they just zoom in on each of their eyes.
Oh, yeah.
It was very much like that movie we watched for the podcast.
Scott Pilgrim.
Scott Pilgrim. I like that kind of thing. There was also those transitions. Very interesting.
They did some transitions that were like, not like a screen wipe. That's more George Lucas-y, but more like where it's very obvious the scene is transitioning.
It's a fade, but not everything in shot is fading at the same time.
Yeah.
So like some other things would fade in differently because there's one where Wong is talking about the Book of Ashanti. He's speaking, he's narrating, so he fades into the shot while the shot's doing something else, but it's like cut out.
Yeah.
It's like a cardboard cutout.
Yes. It reminded me at least of a scene that Raimi also shot in the first Spider-Man movie where they're like talking about Spider-Man, they're showing the newspaper and like you see him.
That's right. He does do that. Yeah.
He kind of like looks at the camera too and he like just walks away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very true. I forgot about that. Acting. Let's do acting. Everyone's great. There's nothing to say. Everybody's great.
Yeah, stellar performances all around.
What's there to say? These are all consummate professionals. What do you want?
Even Black Bolt was great.
Yeah.
That guy's a good actor, though. I think he just got put in a shitty show.
Yeah. I love that Marvel will legitimize their worst things. They're just like, no, you will like this. I don't care. It's like Thor the Dark World.
They made it important.
In Endgame, they're like, no, you go back and watch this movie. And you like it. And now it's like the same shit with Inhumans. Xochitl Gomez as America Chavez. She is
she's a newcomer.
She's 16. Fantastic. Great stuff. I don't know if we'll ever see her again, but if we do in any capacity, I look forward to it.
Maybe she'll be one of the young Avengers that we keep hinting at.
Oh, maybe actually, yeah. Maybe she finds that universe with her moms.
Maybe.
By the way, those are the 12 seconds that.
That's why this movie was banned in
like Egypt or other countries, Saudi Arabia,
a couple
other countries actually.
China.
I don't know about China actually. But Saudi Arabia was like, look, all you got to do is take 12 seconds out. And they try to play it like they're the good guy. They're like, no, like we really want to play this movie. All you have to do
is remove this.
Remove 12 seconds. It's just 12 seconds. And Marvel's like, no, that's ridiculous. We're not doing it. Like, get over it.
Good for them.
Yeah, no, honestly. And the thing is like, we don't realize this because it didn't make news before. But movies used to be edited all the time for different countries for reasons like this. Yeah. And now is when we pay more attention to that. And these companies are kind of like, no, we're going to choose to do the right thing and leave the movie as is.
Well, they want to look good.
Well, they do. Look, they're a major company. It's all about the bottom line. And in this one instance, doing the right thing affects their bottom line less than selling the movie in Saudi Arabia, which I'm sure they have accountants all over this bullshit. They're like, look, this is how much money we'll lose if we don't sell it in Saudi Arabia.
Like, oh, that's nothing.
This is how much money we lose if we upset a bunch of people in the United States. So,
oh my God. Yeah, no, that's probably exactly what they did.
Oh, yeah. Chapek is like, do that one.
Do that one. Yeah. We look good. We don't lose as much money. I'm down.
Yeah.
Also, like, who fucking cares?
I don't know. Look, I had this argument about how, like, oh, they're just pandering to a certain crowd. Look, okay, here's the thing.
That's exactly what they're not doing here, though.
Okay,
because it's a passing mention. That's it.
Yeah, because here's the thing. If a TV show or a movie, and how many TV shows and movies have you seen a set of parents? A gajillion, a fucking million, billion, trillion, right? How many of those were same-sex couples? None? Like
parents, like maybe one.
Maybe, like, it's very hard. Like Modern Family, cool. That's the only one I can think of. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like in real life, there's many more same-sex parents out there.
It's not that crazy.
It's not at all. All it's saying is like it'd be pandering if it were like, oh, in this movie universe, all parents are same-sex parents, like 50% or 100%. Yeah, that'd be weird.
The whole cast.
That'd be weird. That doesn't sound like a normal distribution statistically, does it? No. All it's saying is like, here's a character who is either like LGBTQ or non-binary herself because she has a gay pride pin on her lapel.
Which could be because of her
parents. Could just be because she's supportive of her parents, obviously. Yeah. This is the household she was brought up in. And also she lost her parents. And that's a huge motivation for her because she doesn't get a multiverse. She's one of a kind, which I thought was a very cool twist. Just fucking get over it.
And I think not a big deal. Something on her jacket says love is love, but like in Spanish.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
She barely stays still in this movie. So
no, she's always like running and
jumping,
falling, and yeah.
So I did not see that.
Screaming.
But no, she was fantastic, and whatever. If it bothers you, fucking get over it. Stop being such a snowflake.
Yeah, it's not a big deal at all.
Action. Here's something that I really love in this movie. The story differentiates sorcery from witchcraft, and then it does it visually.
Yes. Because
going into this, I remember thinking, like, what is the difference between Doctor Strange and Wanda? Like, they both have magic-y powers, so, like, are they compatible? Are they not? I don't know. Mm-hmm. And in this movie, it makes it super clear that these are very two different styles of magic, sorcery and witchcraft.
Yes, and we first get our glimpse at that in WandaVision.
Well, yeah, but
with Agatha.
Yeah. She's a witch. But, like, it still wasn't clear, like, how is this compatible with what we had seen before in Doctor Strange?
Oh. Yeah.
And then in this, you know, they have the scene where Doctor Strange is sort of winning, and she's sort of in the mirror dimension for a minute. and everything's kind of falling in on itself like we're used to visually from Doctor Strange. But then it turns into a fucking horror movie, and she's like popping out of like the cinematography changes. It gets kind of dark. And then, like, she starts coming out of reflections and shit. And then she does that ring walk from, like, she comes out of the fucking thing, like, in the ring.
Yeah.
And, like you said,
Pennywise does that, too.
Pennywise does that. Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. This isn't the first time we've seen Wanda do stuff like this. She does stuff like this in Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron has scenes of her, like moving, like, all weird and quickly
like
and stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, appearing behind people.
I'm kind of glad that they came back to that, because when they originally introduced her in that, she had very witchy powers. And then after that, they're like, well, she's a hero, and she just has, like, red magic powers. And now it's like, oh, no, she's a witch.
No, she's a witch the whole time.
Yeah. That was cool. Other than that, yeah, I love the action bits. Also, the visual of Zombie Strange, and he's got all the other zombies, and they all make like a cape for him.
Oh, that was cool.
That was pretty badass.
It was cool looking. Zombie Strange himself, it looked very much like makeup on Benedict Cumberbatch, though.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad thing. It looks very Evil Dead.
Uh-huh.
But I saw some people complain about that.
Well, they want CGI? Like, come on. I think it was good. It was good makeup. I quite liked it. Music. So
amazing.
The music scene. There's a music fight in this.
There's a music fight. Oh, maybe we.
That's kind of action.
Is this more music or action?
It's both. Just talk about it.
The Fantasia scene where they fight with music notes. There's a part where there's just sheet music falling down, and Doctor Strange like makes all the notes like come off of the music and uses them as like little
weapons?
Projectiles.
Yeah.
Against the other Strange that he's fighting. And then the other Strange kind of does the same thing, but like actually plays music when he hits him. Isn't it the like? Was it?
No, it's not Beethoven. It's fuck. Hold on.
What was it that it was? Let's see. Oh, the two classic songs I see are Toccata and Fugue in D minor by Bach, and Symphony No. 5 in C minor by Beethoven. I'm guessing one is used by one of the Stranges and one is used by the other.
Okay. Yep. You're right.
Toccata and Fugue.
Yep. That's it. It's this one.
I was right.
Yep. That's it.
Which usually you think of that when you think of like vampires and like
maybe a little bit. And the other one was Beethoven's what?
Symphony No. 5 in C minor.
Yeah, it was. That's the exact one I told you it wasn't. Because I was thinking of the Sinister Strange's one. He does Toccata and Fugue.
Okay, yeah. And I guess regular Strange does the Beethoven. But yes, Danny Elfman did great.
I would have liked a little bit more incorporation of Giacchino's theme, because I love that theme.
Yeah, well, more harpsichord in general would have been nice.
Yeah, he used it in the very beginning. He referenced it.
Yeah.
In the beginning of the movie, and then kind of left it. I would have liked it a little bit more, but overall, I think he does a great job.
I'm curious if he's the one that arranged like the little remix of the X-Men theme that we hear too.
Probably, yeah.
It sounded really good.
Yeah. Also, they incorporated some of the WandaVision theme.
Yes, the first time we see Wanda, actually.
Costumes. Wanda's using the same one.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Strange has a new costume. It's a brighter blue, and it has the cross in it, just like in the comic.
Yes. I like it. He's still going around with the Eye of Agamotto for some reason.
No, he uses the Eye of Agamotto.
That's right.
The Eye of Agamotto's original powers, among other things, are that it reveals secret incantations and stuff.
Right. That's how he was able to see.
He uses it for the exact reason. Yeah.
Was it Garganch something? Did you know that was basically Shumagorath, but they're not allowed to use the name Shumagorath?
Why are they not? Why?
It's legally owned by someone else.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's visually the same exact creature.
Yep,
but it is.
They gave it a name of another creature that also already exists in the comics.
Well, that's confusing. It's an Easter egg. So
yeah.
No. He does the thing with the eye, and then he's able to see the creature.
Yeah,
he gets rid of the incantation where he wouldn't be able to see it. That's what the Eye of Agamotto does.
It just isn't housing the time stone anymore.
Right. We mentioned this when we kind of did a little bit of background on Doctor Strange for last week's episode on the movie Doctor Strange. I think I like the old look a little bit better. I don't know if I like the big bright blue. It's a little too bright for me. I like the muted blue a little bit better.
It didn't distract me in any way.
Because the cape is very red. So I'm like,
True.
It's like Superman. You either do bright red and muted blue or muted red and bright blue.
Yeah, if you do both bright, it's going to be... they'll clash.
Yeah, which is what I think happened here.
Strange also has a few other costumes in this, but just they're variants of him. Like we have that one at the beginning with the ponytail. He almost looks like a warrior.
Sure, yeah.
Zombie Strange later on. We have whatever Strange we saw getting killed by Black Bolt. I think that just looked like regular Doctor Strange. And then
he's pretty much visually the same.
And then there's Sinister Strange, who looked just Doctor Strange but evil.
He's very dark.
He had an evil beard.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty much it. Overall, I really enjoyed it. Is it the best thing ever? Probably not, but I thought it was pretty strong. It was very surprising. I really like this twist on Doctor Strange. I want more Sam Raimi Doctor Strange for sure. I think that's the match made in heaven. Keep doing it. Two more movies, if you will. Again, they should have made one in between this, but there you have it. Actually, on that Mordo thing, I guess that's what it feels like for people that like watch some of the MCU movies and not other ones, like they've missed some along the way, and they just hear passing references and they're like, oh, I guess that happened. Oh well.
Is that what that feels like?
That's what that feels like.
Huh.
Any final thoughts for you before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I really like this movie a lot. It's a lot of fun. Like you said, probably not the best thing ever, but if you like the idea of the MCU movies getting weirder and like being more open to like bringing in actual like comic book elements and stuff, this is probably the movie for you.
Oh yeah, for
because
sure.
This 100% does that.
Got
Everything
weird.
from like the plot to like the action to even the fucked up deaths that we see in the alternate universe, all of that feels like a comic book.
Yeah,
feels like an edgy comic book, but it feels like a comic book. So I love that about it, and that's something I want to see more of in my comic book movies.
Yeah, I want them to keep on expanding the range of what can be done, expand those parameters.
Yeah, keep pushing the envelope, because they definitely did that with this.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. So, guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thanks to that piano dude for a musical intro. Make sure you leave a rating and review on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. All these episodes are available on YouTube if that's how you like getting your podcasts. Tell a friend, please. And if you've told a friend, thank you for telling that friend. You can find us on Instagram at Films from the Phantom Zone, Twitter at Films from PZ, TikTok, Films from PZ. We live stream all these episodes on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/Films from PZ, mostly Monday nights, 8 o'clock. Maybe there's some changes coming. We don't know. We'll keep you all updated on Twitter and stuff. But we've had Jorge in the chat, the man named John in the chat, and Eduardo from the Assembly Required podcast, which, by the way, I was on 2 episodes of in the last few weeks talking about Moon Knight. So check that podcast out. If you want to support the show, you can do so on Patreon. There's a link below, and that's where you can access our second podcast called Where's Mephisto, where we scour streaming television and we look for a Mephisto. Was he in Moon Knight? I don't know. You're going to have to listen to our podcast about it, and maybe he was in Moon Knight. We'll see. We did half of Peacemaker. We did Moon Knight. Now we're going to do Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yes.
Maybe Mephisto made his way into the Star Wars universe. You never know. He's tricky.
Yeah, why else would Vader turn, or Anakin turn? Context, whatever.
Into Vader?
Yeah, Anakin into Vader.
Probably
Is the Emperor Mephisto?
lifelong traumas and manipulation by the Emperor.
Jealousy
Mephisto.
of Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Because of Obi-Wan.
Lost love. Anyway, if you want to talk to us all week long, you can join our Discord server. It's absolutely free, and it's linked below. We're there all the time, and there's always a chat to be had about all nerd things, including video games, all kinds of other TV shows, movies. Other than that, we will see you next week. We are going back to a regular movie called Dr. Mordred, which is sort of a knockoff of Doctor Strange. We'll get to it. We're about to record that episode.
It's interesting.
It's interesting, the Mordred. So yeah, we'll see you with that next week. Goodbye.
Bye.